We have one or two brief talks, sort of faculty perceptions on work-life balance. And then we're going to have our surgeon scientist residents discuss their experiences thus far with surgeon scientists. So this will be an interesting and brief session. Thank you for staying to the end of the day. My name is Michelle Ghert. Most of you know me. I'm an associate professor here. So Mo asked me to talk about work-life balance, and the title that he gave me was actually given to me after I got the talk together, and it worked out quite well because he wanted me to talk about live a life that matters before it's too late. And I had sort of had those thoughts already. Maybe Mo knows me quite well. But there are two sure things in life, and as you all know, taxes and death. And why does the government tax us? Because they can. Why do we die? Because we must. And those of us that work in healthcare, we know that death as trauma surgeons can come in an instant. As a cancer surgeon, myself, death can be a long, drawn-out process that begins with the discovery of a lump. Passed the 40 threshold a few years ago, and suddenly death became a significant reality in my life. And I don't want to be morbid, because in a way it's positive. So that's the title of the talk. And I thought about how do I balance my life? And the way I balance my life is not going to be the same for everybody else, but you can get some tips and tricks, and maybe you can apply them to you, maybe not. So basically what I decided was that I figured out what are the things that make me me. And everybody here in this room will have a different set of things that make you you. So I list those elements as priorities, and at some point there is a cutoff that some elements won't make the priority list. And then I set boundaries, and boundaries is a key word. We heard earlier today, PJ said, don't take no for an answer. The key is to say no. You have to say no sometimes. So this is what my balanced pie looks like. I have 6 things in my pie. 1 is spouse, and 2 is family. So these are going to be very similar across the board. Most of us just want to be loved. These are very important things in anybody's life, whether you have a spouse or a family. You may just have a whole bunch of friends and pets. But I'm not a religious person, but the moments that I believe there is a God is when I look at my family, and I can't believe how lucky I am. One, that I found someone who's willing to tolerate me and to take my genes to the next generation. I have 2 beautiful, healthy children, and these are center core of my life. However, they are only 1/6 of the pie. They are not my life. Athletics is something that's very important to me. Social is an interesting compilation of lots of little things. Social is going to Ben's son's first birthday party. It's going to the movies with my friends. It's reading history books. It's reading for Cecilia, the girl who kicked the hornet's nest, and the girl with the red dragon tattoo. It's popular culture, going out dancing. It's a part of me that I think is going to be very important when I retire, that I want to continue to develop parts of me that are separate from my work and from my family, and there are very many different things. Clinical, those of us that are in this room, most of us are involved in healthcare, and I have always dreamed of being a doctor. Being a surgeon has been a dream, continues to be a dream. I am very strict on my clinical practice. I have set boundaries. Just a quick vignette. I remember my first year of practice, I was in the sarcoma clinic, and a resident came to me in a big huff, and he showed me an x-ray of a patient with metastatic breast cancer. Obviously needed a hemiarthroplasty. So I said to the resident, what surgery does this patient need? He said he needs a hemiarthroplasty. I said, do you know how to do a hemiarthroplasty? It was a PGY 4 or 5. He said, yes. I said, why are you talking to me then? Because I'm a sarcoma surgeon, and at that point I set a boundary. And as everybody in this room knows, I won't take run-of-the-mill metastatic referrals. And that, yeah, I can get a reputation. I accept that because I set that boundary. And why did I set that boundary? So I can do research. And that is very important to me. That's my mandate at McMaster, is to do research. So I set that boundary. So what happens if I lose a piece of the pie? What if you take out athletics? Things get a little shaky. All the other pieces are going to fall apart. So why is that? That's hard to explain. This is me finishing a half marathon about a month ago. I look like I'm about to win. I was far from that. I was just so happy to be finishing, one. And two, as a 44-year-old, I was about to break my personal best record by 3 minutes. And that was a huge achievement for me, not for anybody else, but for me. This is part of who I am. I can't explain it. This is me. I'm in the bottom right-hand corner, about to put my goggles on this morning swim team practice, and Cecilia will recognize this. I'm a master swimmer, so why do I get up at 4:30 and answer emails and get on the road at 5? Because this is me. I'm not trying to break records or world records. I'm not trying to be the best at anything, but if I don't challenge myself, I'm not being me. There are health benefits to exercising, but I have to say, I have to be perfectly honest, it's not why I do it. I do it because it's part of who I am, and I can't explain why. So, a weekend or holidays, this is what my pie looks like, and I set the boundaries. Family, spouse, athletics, I do a little bit of a longer run on the weekend. Social, I might have my family over, I might have a friend over, I have a little play date with her kids. And then I keep the clinical and research there because I do have an iPhone and I'm really bad that I always look at it. But I do operate on Fridays. I feel responsibility for my patients. And research is something that's 24/7, as anybody who's deeply involved in research knows. And I need to be aware of, particularly as in a clinical trial, if there are any issues that come up. This is a research day. Those are strict boundaries. I leave my family at home, I leave my spouse, I get my athletics done. I do socialize because that's just, very important part of every part of the day. Even if it's just listening to music in the car on the way to work. Clinical is there, it's this tiny little thing. And that means, am I a bad doctor? Because I won't take a patient's call? That's up to you to decide. But Dr. Daheshi's been a great advocate for this. I am reviewing CHR grants today. I don't want to hear a thing. I don't want a single email, I don't want a single call. Doesn't mean I'm a bad doctor? I don't think so, because there's no emergencies in sarcoma and everything can be handled the next day. But that is why I can focus on my research. That's why when I finish a research day, I've actually accomplished quite a bit. And this is an OR day. The research goes on the back burner. My family, my kids, social, all that stuff kind of goes on the back burner because the patient under the knife is a priority. So that's the clinical day. There could be clinic as well, but OR I just use as an example. So once again, it ends up balancing out. If I had a full year of holiday, then I'd be missing the clinical and the research. If I had a full year every day of operating, I'd be missing other things. It's a balance, and you've got to keep your pie pieces moving. So just the final thoughts. These boundaries are key, and you have to say no. And do you get a reputation for not wanting to see patients? Do you get a reputation for not answering emails at 10 at night because you're sleeping, because you're getting up at 4:30 to exercise? That's the boundary I set, and I'm okay with it. But these shift over time, and maybe 10 years from now when I can no longer run, I'll be doing something else. Or my kids will be out of school, in university, and things will shift around. You have to constantly reassess. And most importantly, life is short and death is certain, so do it right. We have only one chance. So that was my talk on work-life balance. I hope, maybe there's some tips and tricks for you, or for you it's completely different, but this is how I have approached it. So, any questions? Or are you here? Hank?